What's up, YouTube? And we are back with another video, and of course we are ranking 500 plus video game franchises. And as you can see on our screen, this is where we are currently at. These are the rankings for Masterpiece so far. Very good, good, above average, mid. We don't have anything in the below average, not good, horrible, or trash tier just yet. And then for our never played section, we have a very big and growing list that I'm not too proud of, but there are a lot of games here that I haven't played. A lot of these games I've heard of, you know, as I've talked about in previous videos, and then some of these games I've never even heard of, bruh. Like, not gonna lie to y'all. But with that being said, this might be a little lengthy one, so I'll go ahead and get you like a snack, something to drink, and let's jump right into this video. So let's see what we would go with. I kind of want to get a little bit more of the not played, because I feel like I'm going to spend with the games that I'm seeing right here so far. I feel like we are going to have, you know, to get in depth with a lot of these games. So for a lot of these games that I haven't played, I kind of want to get them out the way, because I know there's going to be a lot of in-depthness when it comes to the ones that I have played. Earth Defense Force, I've heard of this, but I'm gonna be completely honest with you boys and girls, never played it. Heard about it, never played it. I want to say this is Tsukimi. I'm not really sure if I'm butchering how to pronounce this, but definitely never heard of it or played it. Not gonna lie, never heard of it, never played it. Bloodstained, this is another one that's gonna go and never played, never heard of it, never played it. Trying to just go through, trying to get through some of these World of Planes, or World of World Warplanes, I think that says. It's so tiny I could barely read what it says. It looked like it says World of Warplanes or World of Warships. Never played that. I'm trying to think. Frostpunk, I've seen this on, I want to say PS4, never played it. Heard about it, but never played it. Battle Gear, never played this either. And as I was scrolling, I kind of dropped it somewhere. That's the one thing I hate about this. I'm using this browser, and this browser is just absolutely awful. You can't really scroll and drag and scroll at the same time. Sometimes it'll randomly drop whatever you're trying to drag, click and drag. R-Type, another game that I've never played. When They Cry, another game that I've never played. Actually, I've never even heard of When They Cry. I've heard of R-Type, never heard of When They Cry. Virtua Racing, played Virtual Tennis, but never Virtua Racing. Never even heard of that game before, in my opinion. So yeah, that's gonna go into never played. My Heroes One Justice, definitely never heard or played that game either. So that's gonna go into never played. Mario and Sonic Olympic Games. Now, this is one that I've heard of, but I've never played this, so I gotta put it in the never played pile. But I've definitely have heard of Mario versus Sonic. But I've personally never played that game, so yes, gonna have to go and never played. Gundam Battle Assault, also, and never played. Like, I feel like a lot of these games, Imagine, is gonna have to go in that never played list. I feel like, I don't know, bro. Like, I feel like a person who's played quite a bit of games. Like, I've played a bunch of games, right? Like, just on my PlayStation account alone, I have like over 1,000 games on my account. So it's just like, and that's not including like PS2 titles, PS3 titles, you know, well, I guess it would include PS3 titles, but it wouldn't include PS2 titles, PS1 titles. It would include Xbox 360 titles. It would include like Dreamcast, SNES, NES, Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance. But I feel like there's just so many games that I also haven't played. You know, like, but I also understand that a lot of those games also include like sequels and like, different games like prequels and stuff like that of the same series. So obviously that's going to be inflated. Like if you look at a series like Grand Theft Auto, that alone is going to be inflated because there's so many Grand Theft Auto games. But it's like going through this list is kind of just like eye opening. Like how many games that I haven't even played. It's just like wow. Hang On. Definitely played Hang On. Hang On is one of those series. I'm just gonna put in below average, and I think mostly because the only thing I can really remember from Hang On is playing this on Sega Genesis, and I really think I played Super Hang On. I don't even think I played Hang On. I think I played Super Hang On. And for those who are uninitiated, Hang On was just like a motorcycle racing game, and you would basically like just race these motorcycles. It was very, very bare bones racer, but it was a motorcycle racing game, not a car racing game, if I'm remembering correctly, or at least Super Hang On was for sure. But I can't even say if I played the original Hang On now that I'm like thinking about it. But I definitely remember playing Super Hang On for sure. But yeah, nothing to write home about in my opinion. Maybe back then it was groundbreaking, but for me when I played it, it's like there was already motorcycle racing games, hover bike racing games, things like Road Rash and Jet Moto and stuff like that. So for me, it wasn't really game ranking or anything like that. Like, oh man, like this is so crazy, like Super Robot Wars. I'm gonna be honest, never even heard of this. Super Robot Wars. Like, I mean, the name sounds familiar, but I definitely haven't heard of it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and say that I did not play this. Risk of Rain. Something I downloaded recently. Definitely was in my backlog because I've heard so many people talk about Risk of Rain. I have it downloaded, but I've never played it. So I'm putting it in a never played list, but again, this is going to be something that I played. Just like I put Sims on the list of never played if I can find it. I got Sims in never played, and I got Mass Effect in never played, but I have Mass Effect Legendary Collection or whatever, and then I have Sims 4. So these are some games that like, okay, I'm putting it in a never played list, but they're going to get played at some point because they're definitely on my backlog. I have the games downloaded on an SSD and everything. I just haven't gotten around to playing them yet. Duke Nukem. Oh man, Duke Nukem, classic. I'm gonna go above average for Duke Nukem. Duke Nukem, I had a lot of fun playing this game. I played Duke Nukem 3D, and I played, I want to say Duke Nukem, I want to say it's called World Tour on PS3, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on the title, but I think that was the last Duke Nukem game, unless they like remastered something or brought something else out. But I remember the World Tour game being such a big deal because they were finally making a new Duke Nukem game. Oh, excuse me about that, sorry about that. And then I remember Duke Nukem 3D, and Duke Nukem 3D was what I grew up on. That's what I played on PlayStation 1 as a kid. And I remember Duke Nukem just being like such a wild game, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just like mad violence, mad gore, very raunchy. They had like the chicks that would like show their boobs, and like, you're rescuing strippers, or you could blow them up and then like, guts and body parts would go flying and stuff like that. Like you could drink out of the toilet or a urinal to gain health, which is just fucking gnarly as hell, bro. Like, or water fountain if you choose to, be a little civilized and drink out of a water fountain. But you could drink out of the toilet bowl or a urinal or whatever and get health as long as you drunk water. You were gaining health. But just some of the things that I remember. I definitely do want to go back and play Duke Nukem again because it's been like a literal decade since I've played the Duke Nukem game. And I do think I have Duke Nukem on PS4, I want to say, I think. Or maybe PS5? No, PS4. So yeah, I did recently buy a Duke Nukem game. last year. So yeah, man, definitely want to go back and play that. But definitely a series that I like for sure, for sure. No, I don't really have anything bad to say about Duke Nukem. It didn't do anything groundbreaking or crazy, but it wasn't like a bad game or anything like that or trash. Ghost Recon, yes, another series that I really genuinely liked. I'm going an above average for Ghost Recon. For me, I would more so say that I'm more of a fan of the old Ghost Recon games, like the more linear type of Ghost Recon games. Like for me, when I think Ghost Recon, I think Advanced Warfighter. I think GRAW 1 and 2. I think like online 360 multiplayer GRAW. I think of Captain Scott Mitchell. I'm still mad that we never got a GRAW 3. I'm still pissed that we never found out what happened to Captain Scott Mitchell. And then I do know that he was like a Easter egg in like the other games. And he is brought back as like, I guess, like a commanding officer in other games. So I guess technically speaking, he did survive like that nuke attack or whatever in GRAW 2. But I'm still pissed that we never got like another GRAW game, like a GRAW 3, because Captain Scott Mitchell was one of my like favorite like action hero slash action shooter military kind of guys. Like when I think of those guys, you know, I think of like Sam Fisher from Splinter Cell. I think of Solid Snake from Metal Gear Solid. I think of Jack Slate from like Dead to Rights. I think of Gabe Logan from Siphon Filter. I think in that era of action stars or heroes, I put Captain Scott Mitchell like right there underneath those guys. Like he's not all the way up there with those guys, or Max Payne. He's not all the way up there with those guys like Max Payne and Gabe Logan and Solid Snake, but he's like a tier right below that, man. Like, and for me, like that's what I think of when I think of Ghost Recon, bro. Like that, like I grew up on those games, and again, like I said, they've changed. They've definitely grown, and that's why I kind of like those games a little bit more. You know, as far as like Medal of Honor, you know, those type of games like SOCOM and stuff like that. I feel like I have to put Ghost Recon a little bit above those, because those games have grown and they've actually expanded on the games a little bit more since like those older games, in my opinion. But moving on, we move on. Commandos, definitely a game that I have not played. Definitely have not played Commandos, so I'll put Commandos on there for sure. Insurgency, I haven't played Insurgency either, so I'm gonna put that on never played. Trying to find some more games that I haven't played. I haven't played Mario and Luigi either. I haven't played Mario and Luigi. Pitfall, I want to say this is like a game from like the 80s. Like, if I'm not mistaken, I haven't played Pitfall, but I've seen like gameplay of it. I know what Pitfall is. If I'm not mistaken, this was like some Indiana Jones-esque game where like you would just run from left to right, and there was like all of these obstacles that you had to like get around. There's like, you know, like these pits and stuff like that. Like you would jump across and swing across with like a rope. And there's like alligators or something like that. Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong game, but if Pitfall is what I think it is, which this is what I think it is, then I've definitely seen gameplay of Pitfall. I've never played it myself, but it was definitely like, I want to say like an arcade game before it was on home consoles, if I'm not mistaken. But I could be wrong what I'm thinking of. But if I'm remembering properly the right game, then that's what Pitfall was. Again, I know of it, but I've personally never played it, so that's why I'm putting it in the never played. F1, again, another game that I haven't played. Joe Danger, I've never played. That Dragon Ball game, I'm definitely going to put in there as well as never played, because I've never played Xenoverse. Played Dragon Ball games before, but never played Xenoverse. Dragon Ball Raging Blast, never played that as well either. So I guess I was wrong, because in the last video I said that I didn't see any more Dragon Ball game, but I think it was just like the font that I'm used to seeing for Dragon Ball. That's why I missed out on those games. But yeah, moving on. Battle Gear, this was another game that I was going to pick, but accidentally dragged it and dropped it somewhere else. So Battle Gear, never played Battle Gear. Um, Legend of Heroes. I've never played Legend of Heroes either, so I'm gonna put Legend of Heroes there as well too. Now this one is a classic. This one is a goated classic, and I'm definitely going to put this. Definitely gonna rank this, and that's gonna be Oregon Trail, bro. And the funny thing about Oregon Trail, right, is that I'm just gonna sit this here for a second. The funny thing about Oregon Trail is that this is one of those games that like I've played a million times, and I don't think I've ever beaten Oregon Trail. I might have beaten it like once or twice, but for the most part, I've probably played this game a million times, and I've lost like damn near every single time. If I have beaten Oregon Trail, it was probably less than 5 times or less than 3 times. Literally. Like every time I would play Oregon Trail as a kid, my family would die. Like kid dies of hunger, somebody dies of plague, somebody dies of typhoid fever. Like just like the family would constantly die. Like I don't know what it was like, and I just remember Oregon Trail. I just remember like your travel, you could choose between the 3 levels of travel. It was just like slow, it was like medium, and then it was like strenuous, which was like you travel fast. But if you travel fast, like people would get sick, they would get hungry faster, like the wagon would constantly break down. I remember like Native Americans would show up and like attack your travel thing with like arrows and stuff like that. Like just most of the time you would just get completely fucked up, for a lesser sense of words. Like you would just get completely fucked up. And I do remember seeing like the winning like screen of like you finally made it to the west, because I believe you were traveling from like the east, traveling all the way to the west or whatever. But every single time, bro, like I swear I would lose. Majority of the time, I would say 99.99% of the time, I would lose playing this game. And I remember I would finish my homework. I would go to the library when I was a kid. And I would go to the library and I would finish my homework and I would get on the computers. And these computers in the back were like old as shit. They weren't like the newer computers. But nobody would ever use these computers. So I would constantly get on this computer and just play Oregon Trail for like hours on end. Just playing Oregon Trail, Oregon Trail. I would play like pinball. I would play like solitaire, shit like that. Minesweeper on these old ass computers. And Oregon Trail was like the one game. It didn't have internet, but I could play these games and I would just play Oregon Trail non-stop. Now, I'm not sure if they've updated Oregon Trail, if there's like some newer updated version of Oregon Trail, but I played like the old ass like 2000s like version of Oregon Trail. So, I would put this, honestly, I would probably put this Oregon Trail, I would probably put that in mid. I'm not gonna lie. I would probably put Oregon Trail in mid. It wasn't anything, groundbreaking or anything like that, but it was a fun game for what it was. Like, I look back on this game fondly though, because I do remember playing this game a lot as a kid, bro. Like, and I do remember getting my ass kicked by this game. Like, you had to be really, really good to like win in Oregon Trail, bro. I swear. Like, otherwise it would just kick your ass every single time, bro. Like every single time. Moving on, another game that I was quite fond of as a kid, and that's gonna be Candy Crush, bro. Candy Crush, yeah, bro. Candy Crush. I played quite some bit of Candy Crush. I'm putting it in mid because again, it wasn't nothing crazy. Like if you played Candy Crush, if you played, I'm trying to think of what a game I could call. I can't really say Tetris because Tetris isn't in the same realm. If you played like one of those Bejeweled games, or if you played like Columns, Columns is definitely a game I would consider it as. Maybe Bejeweled. I'm not really sure if Bejeweled really fits, but definitely Columns. If you play Columns, then you've definitely played Candy Crush, or just happen to get 3 things in a row to match or whatever. And Columns is like the main game that I immediately think of when I think of like Candy Crush. Columns for sure. And I'm putting it in mid because it's a game that's been made 100 times already over, bro. Like, it's just now, instead of it being like colorful shapes, you're now just putting it with like things with candies, you know what I'm saying? Like, they added a couple of little special effects and stuff like that you didn't get in like Columns and stuff, but outside of that, it's pretty much the same game as Columns, bro. Like, in my opinion. So, and it's it plays very similar to Tetris in a way as well too. Um, I do like that there's a lot of spin-offs, you know, Candy Crush, Soda Crush, Cookie Jam, all of the different like spin-offs and stuff. But ultimately it's all the same game. You know what I mean? Like they might change one or two things, they might change the name and the shapes that you're spinning and using, but it's all the same game. Like Farm Hero Saga, instead of like candy, you're using vegetables. Cookie Jam, instead of using like, you know, candy, you're using cookies or whatever like that. But ultimately, it's all still the same exact game, you know, just different, you know, items or objects, right? And I'm putting it in mid. Not complete trash, but just, you know, just average game. You know, that's what mid is. Because if you look, mid is right in between above average and below average. So it's not, you know, trash. It's just average, you know, just average. So mid, if you will. Moving on. Armored Core. I definitely played some of the older Armored Core games, but I would say for the most part, I haven't really played Armored Core as the series. So I'm putting that and never played. That's just me personally. South Park. I've played the games, and for me, just below average, bro. Like, I'm not gonna hold you. I've played like Stick of Truth and the Fractured Butthole South Park games, and it just didn't do it for me. Like playing the games, I just found myself just like, I would much rather just watch South Park. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's just certain games where they make a game of like a movie or a show or anime, and it's like it just don't hit for me. It's just like, well, I would rather just, you know, watch the show. Like whenever I played the South Park game, I always just felt like I would rather just watch South Park than to play this, right? There's sometimes where it works. Like for example, the Simpsons game. I remember playing the Simpsons game on Xbox 360. I remember playing Simpsons Hit and Run, Road Rage, all of that stuff. And the Simpsons games, even like the old school like arcade like Simpsons game, it was like, well, I'm having fun playing this, you know? Whereas like with South Park, it's just like, I would rather just watch an episode of South Park. I would rather watch like the Casa Bonita episode or the Cripples episode or something like that. Like, I would rather just sit down and watch South Park than to play this. Like, this just isn't good to me. Now I know, like I said, people are probably going to fight me in the comments, say like, nah, I'm tweaking. If you feel so, that's fair. But to me, it's just like, Ultima, another series that is like a legendary series that I just never got around to playing, you know. But I've heard of Ultima for sure. Personally, never played it, but I've heard of it for sure. Let's see. I'm trying to find some more. Worms. We could do Worms. I've never played Worms. I know what Worms is. I've seen gameplay on Worms, but me personally, I've just never played the game. Sort of like with like Pitfall, where I've seen it, I know of it, I know what it's about and all of that stuff, but I've just personally never played it. Let's see, what do we have? What do we have here? NASCAR Heat is another one that I never played. Heard of it. Seen gameplay. I've watched people play it, but just like any game that's like traditional like racing in the sense, I'm gonna tell you outright, I never played it. Like Grand Prix, never played it. Grand Prix, NASCAR Heat, Gran Turismo, EA NASCAR, like these type of games just never appealed to me. Like Forza Horizon, Forza, all the Forza games. Like I've played Gran Turismo. I've only really played Gran Turismo 3. But I'll put Gran Turismo in there as a whole. But I've played Gran Turismo 3 A-Spec though. Like, and the reason why I played that game was because I told my mom I wanted GTA 3, and I tell people this story all the time, bro. I told my mom I was dying for GTA 3, and you know, a mom being a typical mom, right? she don't know. Like, parents don't know what video game. Like, you know, my mom grew up on like Nintendo and like Sega Genesis. Like, my mom, like, she knows what a PlayStation is. Like, you know, she knows what a PS2 is, but she doesn't know what the games are. She doesn't know what Grand Theft Auto is and Need for Speed Underground and all of these things are. What WWE SmackDown versus Raw is. She don't know all of these things. She's like, I don't know what a SmackDown is. I don't know what the GTA is. So I begged her for GTA 3 when GTA 3 came out. Didn't get it, of course, and I would constantly like, yo, I want GTA 3, I want GTA 3, I want GTA 3. And one year she finally got me GTA 3, but it wasn't the GTA 3 that I wanted. It was Gran Turismo A-Spec, or Gran Turismo 3 A-Spec. And I guess if you look at it, based on how they like structured the title, it is technically GTA 3, but it wasn't Grand Theft Auto 3 that I wanted. So yeah, that's how I end up playing Gran Turismo A-Spec. And I thought it was interesting when I played it, because you gotta like do like the little test and like earn the licenses and all of that stuff, like A license, S license, all of these different licenses and whatnot. But personally, I thought it was interesting, but I just didn't enjoy it. And for me, that was really the only, that right there pretty much wraps up my experience with Gran Turismo. I think they came out with like my first Gran Turismo or something like that for PS5 that I played briefly. But outside of those two games, I'd never really played Gran Turismo. But again, like I said, that's not really my bag. My bag is more so like a Need for Speed, a Burnout, even like a test drive type of game, a flat out type of game, like, you know, just racing. The Hot Wheels series, I'm not too mad at either, but just like that type of racing, NASCAR, Formula One, Grand Prix, Gran Turismo, Forza, like the super realistic simulation driving, that is not my bag at all. I'll be the first one to tell you, it's not my bag. I don't have fun playing it. Not a fan of it. It's just not for me. Like, I can tell you right now, it's not for me. It's not what I like to play. It's not what I enjoy. So, yeah, just I'm putting it in and never played, but I've definitely played it. But that's just what we're gonna go with there. Chess Master, bro. This was a game that I played a lot as a kid. I played a lot. The local library, right? I'm putting it in mid, but the local library used to have a chess club, and I would go there after school, and I would play chess. I would whoop ass. I would get my ass whooped. You know, I played chess a lot as a kid. Haven't really played chess in quite some time. Like, I'm talking about like at least 10, 15 years since I played chess. But I used to play it a lot when I was like in 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade. Played a shit ton of chess. For Game Boy, I had Chess Master, and I would just play Chess Master just nonstop. Like, I would be bored. I would play like, I'm trying to think, what would I play for Game Boy? I would play Pokemon. Favorite of mine was Elevator Action. I would play Elevator Action. I would play Pokemon. I would play the Fortified Zone. Tetris Attack. But I would always come back. I would play Yoshi Island, Super Mario Land, but I would always come back to Chess Master. Anytime I would get bored, we popped that Chess Master in, and I would enjoy playing Chess Master. And that's how I really got good at playing chess, like when I was younger. Haven't played in forever, so I'm probably completely dog shit now, but as a kid, I was actually pretty decent at chess. Like, I don't know. I would also play on yahoo.com, because Yahoo had like all the games where you could play like backgammon and mahjong and chess and checkers and like battleships and all of that stuff. But I would constantly play chess. Chess was like one of my favorite games. Like, I don't even know why. I couldn't even tell you why I like playing chess, but chess back then to me was fun. Now I probably wouldn't enjoy it as much because I'm not anywhere near as good at it. But, you know, back then I enjoyed it. But moving on, I have no clue what this is. This name is crazy. This is Inazuma 11 or a Lehman. I don't even know what that says, bro. Like, I could barely read that font, but whatever it is, it looks crazy, and I definitely haven't played it, bro. So, Excite Bike, another one of those classic games. Excite Bike. And I want to just say briefly that just because it says mid, I wish I could. Can I change with this saying mid, bro? Can I change this? I'm gonna change this, bro, because I feel like people are gonna see mid, and I just want to put average. Okay, whoa, I'm hitting the enter button. I just want to change this to say average. And the only reason why I want to say average, because like people have such a negative connotation with the word mid, and I know it's used in a negative light. Like, oh, bro, that shit is mid, dog. Like that album is mid. That song is mid. That video is mid. But by definition, mid just means middle of the pack. It just means average. That doesn't mean it's bad, bro. Like, and people have this connotation now where it's like mid is bad. If something is mid, that means it's trash. No, by definition, it just means middle, average, like middle of the pack. It's in the very middle. It's not dog shit. It's not trash. It's not bad or awful. It's just middle. It is average. And there's nothing wrong with average, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, average just means exactly what it says. Average. It's not above average. It's not great. It's not amazing. But it's also not trash or dog shit or horrid. You know what I mean? Like, it's just average. It's just, you know? It's okay. Like, would you play it? Yeah, sure, I'd play it. Do I love it? Am I going to tell my friends about it? Am I going to recommend it to people and be like, oh, man, you should definitely play this shit. This will change your life. Fuck no, I'm not doing all of that. But would I pop it in on, you know, a rainy day when I'm bored and I'm like, oh, I'm tired of all the other games I played? Yes, I'd pop it in and play it because it's average. It's not super trash or anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm just tired of people having this negative connotation with, like, mid, bro. Like, mid does not mean bad, bro. All right, it just means average. So yeah, I just want to change it to average. 19XX. I don't even know what that is. I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys. I have no idea what this is. Never even heard of this game. So that's definitely going in the never played list. Warhammer, unfortunately, definitely is going into never played. Although I've heard of Warhammer 40K, all of those games. I know of the series, but Samurai, what is this? Samurai Showdown or Sword Down? Okay, this is definitely Showdown. Yeah, SHO down. Okay, Showdown. Samurai Showdown. Definitely never played this. Definitely never played this. Arkanoid. Definitely never played this either. You know, don't kill me. There's just so many franchises. Project X Zone, like, there's just so many games that I've just never heard of. Like, and I'm definitely gonna take like a picture or a screenshot of these lists that I've never played or never heard of. A lot of these games, I want to go back and like look up videos of these games, and because I do feel like there's some games here that I've probably heard or seen in passing. Like I said, some of them I know of: Frostpunk, Angry Birds, you know, R-Type, you know, Risk of Rain, you know, it's on my backlog. I have it downloaded. I never played it though. Mario, Sonic at the Olympics, I've seen that, you know, I know what it is. Pitfall, a lot of these games, Ultima, you know, a lot of these games I know of or I've heard or seen. I just never got around to playing it. Spelunky, stuff like that. But then there's some games that I've literally never even heard of, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, games that I literally, like, I've never heard of. Epic Battle Fantasy. I don't even know what that is. Whatever this is, I can't even read what this is. Bloodstain, I've never even heard of Bloodstain. When They Cry, I've never even heard of this. Like, just certain games, I'm just like Arkanoid, like Samurai Showdown. Like, some of these games, I'm just like, I've never even heard of. Master of Orion. Police Quest, SWAT, Police Quest, like some of these games I've never even heard of. Captain Tsubasa, maybe that's an anime or something, I don't know. Jazz Jackrabbit, like, I've never heard of any of these games. Some of these games I've never even heard in passing. A lot of them though, I've seen people talking about, discussing, or I've seen, gameplay footage or stuff, trailer or something. But a lot of these games is just like, I've never even heard of these games. Like, I don't even know what this is, bro. Like, Bus Simulator. Bus Simulator is actually a game that I've definitely played. And I'm not going to lie, this is probably going to be one of the first games that I put in, like, not good. I don't think there's any games that I'm going to really put, well, there might be some games that I'll put in trash, but Bus Simulator is one of those games that I just didn't have fun playing, bro. I thought that this was going to be fun, and I played it, and I did not enjoy this at all. It's way too many moving parts and stuff, but I guess that's what makes it fun as a simulator, is all the different moving parts and buttons and stuff like that. When I came into it, I thought this was going to be more so like a bus simulator, like a bus game that I played was like the Hey Arnold movie had this one bus game on Nickelodeon.com. And basically you would just drive this bus and you would just go to a bus stop, pick people up, drive to the bus stop, drop people off. And that was pretty much the entire game. Just pick up, drop off, pick up, drop off. You would go to like this little glowing square and you would just stop there and pick up people or drop people off. And you had a timer and you had to hurry up and be quick. There was like this broken bridge that you could like jump the bus over and stuff like that. But I remember playing that game a lot as a kid, and that's kind of what I thought this game would be going into it. And boy, was I wrong. I've played a couple of the simulator games. I've played Bus Simulator. I've played Truck Driver Simulator. I think I've played Firefighter Simulator. I played like the Forestry Simulator where you like chop down trees and stuff like that. I've played a lot of the simulator games. I haven't played Combat Simulator or Flight Simulator though, but I've played a lot of those simulator games, and I'm putting Combat Simulator and never played, but Bus Simulator just not for me, bro. Just not for me at all. WRC, again, another game that like I think I played like one of the games, but for the most part, like rally racing, again, just not my bag. Grid, Grid. I'm putting a lot of these games that I did play, that Arceto, whatever it's called. I've played those games, but not my bag, bro. Not my bag at all, bro. I'll be completely honest with you. Not my bag. Moving on though. Girls Frontline, another game that we have not played. Heard about it, not a fan of it. Just based on what I've seen, just not my bag. Definitely not my bag, bro. Idolmaster again. Like the game for me to play it, if it's like one of those anime type of games for me to play it, it has to be like very specific. It has to be something like a Persona. Like a Persona I can get behind, but just certain games is just not my bag, bro. That's just a nice way of me saying like I don't fuck with it, bro. Like, be honest. That's really just, oh, whoa, I did not know that they had this series here. Yo, I was just talking about this. Elevator Action, come the fuck on down, bro. I love this game, bro. This shit going in good, bro. Elevator Action is one of those games, dog, where like I could just play this shit on in like just over and over and over and over again. Like Elevator Action, oh my god, bro. I loved this game as a kid, bro. Playing Elevator Action on the Game Boy, bro, I'm not gonna lie, this game was goated. If you never played Elevator Action, please go back, get it if you can find it for cheap, or if you have to even, download like an emulator or something like that, get it that way. But you need to go on YouTube, look up some gameplay. You gotta play Elevator Action. This game was so much fun as a kid, bro. Like, and even today, I think it would still hold up. In fact, I'm probably gonna download and play this. Because I definitely have the cartridge somewhere, but I don't have a Game Boy anymore, so I can't play it. But I'm definitely gonna download for sure and play Elevator Action for sure. Because I don't have a Game Boy currently. Not about to go out and buy a Game Boy, but definitely gonna play Elevator Action, bro. Elevator Action was, man, I love that game, bro. Love it. I'm kind of shocked that they have it here listed. Honestly, was not expecting to see elevator action on the list at all. Uh, moving on though. Let's see. What do we got? What do we got? What can we go with next? Uh, I'm trying to think. What could we go with? Oh, this was a fun one. Dance Revolution. Dance Revolution, definitely average for me. Like Dance Revolution, like you had to be like crazy, like the people I see playing Dance Revolution, bro. And the one thing I like about Dance Revolution, right, bro, that I find amazing, is that it attracts all types of people. Like I've seen tall ass people, I've seen short ass people, I've seen like skinny people, average people, fat people, like black, white, Asian, like it doesn't matter, like just anybody from all walks of life playing the absolute shit out of Dance Revolution. Like that's one of those games like I genuinely appreciate, because it's like you would think only a certain type of player would be playing, or a certain type of person would be playing Dance Revolution, but I've seen people from like all walks of life getting down on that dance pad, bro. Like for real. Now me personally, I've never been one to really enjoy Dance Revolution. I've played it in passing, but I'm just not that guy, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like that's just not my bag. Like, and it's crazy because I got good footwork. I played sports. I played football early on, and then I switched to basketball, so I got decent footwork. But I've just never been like crazy obsessed with Dance Revolution. But then again, at the same time, I've never really been one that was like crazy obsessive over like rhythm games in general. So for me, it's just like it's all right, but nothing that I would go crazy over. And then I think for our last series that we could go with, I think I'm gonna go with Saints Row, a series that I really enjoyed, bro. And I'm gonna put Saints Row. In above average, and I'm gonna put Saints Row in above average because I feel like Saints Row, they kind of lost the plot, bro. They really did lose the plot for Saints Row. Now I've played every single Saints Row game. Saints Row was the reason why I even wanted an Xbox 360. Up until that point, I was pretty much either on PlayStation or a Nintendo console. I didn't have the first Xbox. I choose to get a GameCube instead. I went from like Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, Game Boy to like PS1, Dreamcast, PS2, and I could have gotten an Xbox, but I opted to get a GameCube instead of an Xbox. So I had GameCube, and like for me, when I seen the games that was dropping, right, there was like an era where like everything was like a quote unquote GTA clone. And I remember this era where like True Crimes was dropping, Godfather was dropping, The Getaway was dropping, like Getaway, Godfather, Scarface, and then it was like Saints Row was coming out. And I remember getting the like Game Informer magazines, the Xbox magazine, the PSN PlayStation magazine, and I remember seeing Saints Row. And I probably still have a magazine somewhere in a closet laying around somewhere, packed up somewhere. But I remember this episode where they was talking about it, and I remember seeing it was like San Andreas, it was like True Crime, Streets of LA, it was like Godfather, Scarface, Mafia, and then it was like Saints Row. And I remember just being just wild. Like we hadn't seen a game like Saints Row yet. Like we've seen like the organized crime and stuff like that. And the closest thing to Saints Row we had was the Warriors. But that was like old school games, right? Like Saints Row was like a modern take on gangs. Like you had to get jumped in. Like you actually got like quote unquote canonized or jumped in, like where you fought your own gang members, and then you picked up the colors and you started, really claiming Saints Row and stuff like that, and then there was opposing gangs that actually walked the streets and all of that stuff like that. And obviously we've seen that with like San Andreas, but San Andreas, you don't get jumped in. Like, you don't see a person go from like a low level gang member all the way to rising ranks like we did with Saints Row. So Saints Row, the first game was just polarizing for me. And it was the main reason why I even wanted the Xbox 360, because Saints Row at that point, the first two games were first two games, or maybe it was just the first game that was Xbox exclusive, and then afterwards it kind of wait no Saints Row 2 was on PS3. So first game was Xbox exclusive, but Saints Row 2, 3, 4, and everything after that was on PlayStation as well. So Saints Row 1 was really the reason why I wanted the Xbox 360. And I know that sounds crazy, like, yo, you got Gears of War, you got Halo, you got Forza, you have like all of these other games that you could possibly want an Xbox for. But for me, honestly, it was Saints Row. And Saints Row 2, again, is another widely acclaimed game where people really loved, mostly because Saints Row 2 was like a little bit more darker. It was serious like Saints Row 1. Saints Row 1 was serious, but it had its wacky, funny moments, like with like Tanya, you know, with you know, Johnny Gat, like the jokes, Aisha, and all of that stuff like that. But I would say, for the most part, Saints Row 2 was just a little bit more darker, a little bit more serious take on the series. And then after that, it kind of just went wacky, wavy, inflatable tube arm man. Like, just, it was like a game, like, it was like Grand Theft Auto meets Family Guy, kind of, where it just went absolutely absurd. And I think it's because they realized, like, look, we're not going to be GTA. We're not going to beat GTA. But what we can do is we can give people who want an alternative to GTA, we can, you know, it's kind of like how Battlefield is, right? Like, Battlefield is never going to be Call of Duty. Battlefield is never going to beat Call of Duty. But what Battlefield can do is it can give you an alternative to Call of Duty. It can be something totally different, like a massive, you know, battlefield with vehicle combats and all of that stuff like that. It can do something totally different that Call of Duty's not doing, and make its own lane that makes you want to play Battlefield. Sort of like Just Cause. Like, Just Cause isn't Saints Row, it's not Grand Theft Auto. It does its own thing and it's its own lane. So you have like an appreciation for it, because it's like, okay, like, I'm doing all these wild, crazy stunts, and then there's all this destruction where you could blow up all these houses and facilities. Everything could just get destroyed or blown up into pieces, and you could destroy pretty much everything in the environment. Like, it has its own lane, you know, if you will. So I get, you know, Saints Row, and then even Saints Row 4, you know, Saints Row the Third, it kind of got a little more wacky and crazy on all of that stuff. Get out of hell and stuff, literally going to hell. Like, but for the most part, I think the later entries, like the reboot and stuff, kind of brings it down in quality for me. But overall, Saints Row is a series that I definitely overall loved and enjoyed. So that's why I put it in above average. But some of the games that have released lately is kind of why I put it down some. I can't put it in very good or good, but definitely above average. So you know, that's it for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. As always, please be sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe for more content, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.